as you say, if they're locked in on Shedeur Sanders, having Carr injured makes it even more obvious, which invites someone to cut to number 8, just like the Chiefs cut the line one spot in front of the Saints in 2017 to get Patrick Mahomes. I know they thought they were getting there to get in front of the Cardinals at 12, but the Chiefs got to 10 and necessarily got in front of the Saints at 11 and got Patrick Mahomes. So it can happen to the Saints again. Everybody knows now, to the point where maybe the Saints need to trade up, Chris, to keep from getting leapfrogged if they really want Shedeur Sanders.
Well, maybe. But the other thing is, too, I don't know if there's a ton of teams that we feel like are in the market that definitely want Shedeur Sanders either, right? That's the other thing. I think there's a lot of teams that are kind of lukewarm on him as well. So they might be able to sit there at number 9, but you're right. There's a big red beacon just flashing now. Like, we're taking quarterback. And if anybody does have their eye on Shedeur Sanders, yes, you know now that you get to number 8, you probably should be safe to get him before the New Orleans Saints. Off of that, Mike, I don't know if I didn't hear you right. Like, do you think Derek Carr is trying to make some chess move here within this a little bit? You do. Like,
I feel like this was not a boating accident to have this come out when it did 13 days before the draft. Like, did he just wake up on Friday and say, "Oh my arm, it's broken"? I doubt that he had no idea.
This is. I like you're going
break
here.
stuff.
I hear.
Track mud on the rug.
Well,
just be
we
an
see
ass.
this every year, though. A little
they're
bit.
treating me this way. I'm gonna get them back. I don't like what they're doing to me. They don't want me here. I can tell they don't want me here.
Okay.
I'm gonna get them back a little bit. On my way out the door. I got one more year. I don't want to get benched this year for Shedeur Sanders. Simple as that. If Shedeur Sanders is here, I'm getting benched at some point. If he's not here, I ain't getting benched. It's just part when a relationship has gone sideways, you're going to have both sides engaging in this ugly, awkward Michael and Jan dinner party thing that is going to gradually become more obvious. And I don't think this was a coincidence. I think he knew he was injured, and I think we all found out about it 13 days before the Saints are going to take Shedeur Sanders. And I think at some level he hopes that it's going to screw up their ability to take Shedeur Sanders.
Maybe, but at the same time, it almost makes it more of a guarantee that they're going to do that. I mean, that's what it does. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm not. If that is what he's doing, I'm not sure I agree with that, and I don't think it's necessarily the right tactical play there. Right? I mean,
Well, look at it this way, Chris.
Yeah.
Why would the Saints leak it? It's coming from one of two sources.
No, I don't think
it's from the team or the player.
No,
why the hell would the Saints leak it 13 days before they're going to get Shedeur Sanders at 9?
I think it's a real thing. I think, unfortunately, it sounds like to me, right?
But somebody had to choose to tell Ian Rappaport.
Yeah.
It was either the agent or it was somebody from the Saints.
Well, yeah.
And it's somebody. This isn't one of those that you're going to find it. He's not digging in a dumpster, as I said last week, shredded paper, piecing it together. This isn't Woodward and Bernstein stuff. Somebody wanted it out there, and they gave it to him. That's how it works. That's how the sausage is made.
Well, yeah.
So who wanted it out there, the Saints or the player?
Well, I don't know, because this is such a big thing that it could just come out either way. Like, oh, wait, the starting quarterback might need shoulder surgery? Then people are going to talk about it. I mean, so that's where I don't know if I necessarily believe it's some tactical move. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. And I'm not saying I'm right. Maybe you are right there. What I'm just going to say to say where I don't believe that's a good tactical move is, by all due accounts from everybody I talked to, yes, he's not loved there in New Orleans. He's not loved. They didn't want him to be the quarterback. This isn't going to be the way to endear himself here for one more year and be, let's get behind him and let's feel great about the guy who's trying to play political games and bullcrap behind the scenes here on us. And only other thing I'll say too, Mike, is just we do see this every year, unfortunately, where it's like guys don't do anything for 3 months. We have a group of people in the NFL who it's a little bit, I'm just going to let my body rest, right? I'm going to let my body rest. So they do that, and then they get back in the building for the first start of the workout. So then they're like, wait, I haven't done anything, and now I'm moving around, and man, this doesn't feel right. right? This is the first time I actually threw the football. Something's not right, which I can't believe because I was obsessive compulsive, and like 12 days after a season, I was back throwing footballs again. And I think a lot of quarterbacks are kind of that way, maybe not 12 days, but somewhat not too far after the season ends. And that's where I'm not sure what the hell's going on is all I'm saying. Yeah.
We've seen enough pictures over the years of Derek Carr with the T-shirt that was deliberately cut so he could, and that's fine, man. If you got it, show it. But I don't think he sat on the couch watching bowling and eating pork rinds since the season ended. And if you have a problem with your shoulder and you're lifting to maintain that mass, you're going to feel it, aren't you? You're going to be doing something. There's enough movements, whether you're doing the curls, whether you're doing the shoulder presses, whether you're doing the flies, whatever you're doing, you're going to feel that something's not right. You're not going to first feel it when you pick up a football and throw it.
No, so listen, I hear you.
I just there's enough weirdness going on between the Saints and Derek Carr that based on how this came out, this is pasta and meatballs. Carr or his agent wanted this out there, deliberately timed when it was put out there, in the hopes to, even if the Saints still get Shedeur Sanders, it's just going to make them sweat a little bit for the next 13 days. It's just a way that he can get back at him a little bit. Now, it's a real shoulder injury. I'm not doubting that. I think it's a real shoulder injury because I think the Saints may very well be more focused on Shedeur Sanders now. And they may be calling Aaron Rodgers and gauging his interest in going to New Orleans at some point. I expect to hear that report in the next few days, that the Saints have reached out to Aaron Rodgers, because you got to look at everything now if you may not have Carr this year.
No, I get that too. You know, I don't think that's going to be exactly real appealing to a guy like Aaron Rodgers and what he's looking for. I think you would agree with that. But Gary did pull kind of the part I was thinking of. I couldn't, I read so much this weekend, and I'm so into draft right now that I got a million things going through my brain. But this was,
you're saving chickens from foxes.
Exactly. So life's hard out on the farm. All right, I'm working hard out there. All right, but this was from The Athletic. Right, the injury was not a surprise to either the Saints or the 11-year veteran. Both parties are weighing their options, including possibility of surgery. And I do believe in that article too is where I read that, there was something. He did bang his shoulder up during the season, but was never on the injury report about it or anything like that. So, again, it doesn't seem like they're surprised by this. But, yes, the dropping of that on a Friday where, again, I do think it's funny, and I will say this to you, and maybe this is where you're right, because like I told you, I was having these conversations before, his shoulder's injured. The league and some very important people in the league, right, thought that 9 Saints Shedeur Sanders. That was a prevailing thought. And I don't know. Did that make Derek Carr and his camp want to do something like you're saying? Maybe it did. But I get the feel that the Saints had their eye on Shedeur at 9 no matter what. And we'll see now if they definitely pull the trigger on that one.
And just so you understand my experience and perspective on how this stuff comes to be, it's either the Saints or Carr deliberately either leaking this or choosing to confirm it once word got around elsewhere. Because Rappaport's not going to report just based upon what he heard from this guy talking to this guy, talking to that guy. Once he knows about it, if he wants to keep his job, he's going to confirm it. Because the worst thing you can do when you work for the league, which is owned by the 32 teams, NFL media is owned by the 32 teams, you go out there with some reckless report about one of the teams, you've bought yourself a problem. You've bought yourself the owner of the team calling the commissioner or the head of the network and saying, your guy's out there reporting fake stuff about our team. So somebody's got to confirm it before he's going to go with it. And is the team going to confirm it, or is the agent going to confirm it? And it just feels to me, it's got the fingerprints of the next chess move in this awkward game between the Saints and Carr. And even if it just makes them sweat for the next now 11 days, countdown clock engaged before the draft, then so be it. Because I'm looking at the draft order, and you're right, Chris. The only team that could jump them is the Steelers.
Right.
And are the Steelers going to go from 21 to 8? I don't think so. And here's the other side of it, too. Would the Panthers at 8, and this makes it even more fascinating, their division rivals in Carolina hold the 8th pick. They can block them. They can Carr block them from getting Shedeur Sanders by trading out of that spot. Now, would they take less to do that? Probably not. But I'm sure they'd love to allow somebody, maybe they look at it and say, that's fine, we're not worried about Shedeur Sanders. But if you're disrupting your division rivals' plans and making their life more difficult and plunging them into even more dysfunction, you'd welcome the opportunity to trade out of that spot.
I don't disagree. I mean, yeah, you might. And if you're sitting at 8 for what your team needs or whatever, and maybe you think, hey, we could drop down a few spots and get a few picks and still get a player that we really, really like a few spots down or somewhere else. I hear you. We'll see. I mean, maybe that's, again, that I would lie because I think about all angles with this type of stuff. You know, did the Saints put that out there, to your point, right, was one of my original thoughts. They put that out there hoping someone would trade up to get Shedeur Sanders. So give them leeway to do something else and then maybe get another quarterback somewhere else later in the first round or the early second round. There's a lot of possibilities. But right now, I would have a hard time believing or not believing that Shedeur Sanders at number 9, New Orleans Saints, Kellen Moore, first-year head coach, get your quarterback, start building that together. He does have great leadership skills and all of that. We know he can play the game. He plays the game well. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. Now, like you've heard me say, it's not a lot of like, oh my gosh, wow, elite traits, but there's no weaknesses either to me in Shedeur's game. That's what I do like about it. And yeah, it just feels like that one's going to happen here now.
I like your thinking. You're taking it next level. This is the Saints if they have decided Shedeur's not the guy, but they want to fully lean into the perception that he is the guy. Hey, the odds are right now we're 3-1, and the Steelers are plus 350.
It's just you got to think of that side of it.
So let's go ahead and let it be known that Derek's injured, so we'll be even the more clear target at 9 for Shedeur Sanders, and we'll try to get somebody to take him in front of us so the guy we really want will be pushed down the board. It's what you said last week that John Robinson used to tell the scouts in New England. Hey, if you hear, the guy, we don't really like that guy, so if you hear good stuff about him, if they're talking good, chime in and say how great he is.
Right.
Once you have decided that's not your guy, you want nothing more than another team to take him. And ideally, if you're drafting 9, you want 8 players you don't want to be drafted before you're on the clock.
That's right. That's music to your ears. When you see a few picks go that you go, oh my gosh, they're going to take him and they're going to take him. Oh, wow, we might have the pick of the litter here now.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.